Good afternoon, everybody. Welcome on November 10th, 2024 to Justice Southbury's 233rd consecutive weekly rally for social justice. Thank you all for being here. Yesterday, Kathy and I attended a funeral at a Korean church in Greenwich of an 86-year-old man who had lived a full and amazing life. And the service was in two languages, Korean and English, which meant that it went really long, as today might go long. But the only Korean that you're going to hear is this part. And I apologize to everyone who actually speaks Korean because I do not. But I will do the best I can, and you'll understand why in a minute. The pastor kept saying, "Eyudu meishigan ai pianwa wiwa bichache shige balamida." The pastor said, "May you feel peace and comfort and light in a time of darkness." May you feel peace and comfort and light in a time of darkness. There is no wrong way to grieve. Today's rally will give us space to mourn and reflect and explain and complain, and then to begin to chart a path forward. This was a change election in a changing world. Over the past year, incumbent governments around the world, left, center, right, have all lost electoral support, all of them. It was the first time that the entire voting world said throw them out since 1905. The headwinds for the incumbent administration were strong. 75% of the country said we were on the wrong track, a historic record. The incumbent president's approval ratings have been in the dismal 40% range. It's a really hard environment in which to run. Was this simply, it's the economy, stupid? Well, financial issues are always in play. You can say by some measures that we have the strongest economy in the world, but the electorate is not made up of economists or math majors, and our focus on financial grievances shifts from people being out of work to the national debt or deficit, or to the performance of the stock market, or this time to the rate of inflation or the cost of living, regardless of whether that cost of living is still inflating or having inflated is just too high. You may recall from a few years ago the sudden interest in New York City's "the rent is too damn high" party. You also may recall that in 2022 it was estimated that 37% of the population in America could not find the emergency funds to pay $400 if they had to. If they needed to buy new tires, they could not. They needed medicine, they could not do it. They couldn't pay their rent and had to go to somewhere else. They could not put down a security deposit. So for many people, worrying about pronouns and isms is a luxury, something they have no time to care about when they live literally paycheck to paycheck. So everyone wants change, and this election expressed that. Whether you wanted to move on from what you considered to be Bidenomics, or whether you wanted to move on from a landscape dominated by the MAGA movement, you wanted change. But change from what? To what? And how is any of this relevant to a nonpartisan group like Justice Southbury? Well, in 2024, it appears that 90% of the counties in America moved red in some measurable manner. 90% of America. 75% of pro-choice women in America voted blue, of course. But that means that one of every woman in this country who considers herself to be pro-choice voted for Trump. One of every four. If Harris won women nationally by 55 to 45%, that sounds great. And then you do the math and you say, if you took 20 random women and lined them up, and the middle was 10 here and 10 there, it means that one moved from one group to the other. That's 55-45. So we've often remarked here at the corner that the ones who yell at us as they drive by and call us N-word lovers, or who yell that we should get a job, or who yell all lives matter. We've often remarked, you know what, no one ever says that if they're black or Hispanic. No black or Hispanic person yells at us all lives matter. Yet people of color moved toward Trump in this election more than white voters moved towards Trump. The top 10 states, which were redder in 2024 than they had been in 2020, starts with Florida, which moved red 9.8 points. Others in the top 10 that moved red were Texas, Mississippi, Indiana, Tennessee, South Carolina, Alabama. But number 2, states that moved more red, Massachusetts by 8.8%. Number 6, Rhode Island. Number 5, Connecticut. Connecticut moved 7.3% more towards the red. Yes, Southbury voted for Harris over Trump, as it had voted for Biden over Trump. For the first time since 1964, Southbury wasn't majority for the Republican presidential candidate. Now, Justice Southbury is not partisan. We don't endorse candidates. We invite candidates from both parties to speak at our rallies. We rarely even mention the names of politicians. You've heard me already say a couple of names you've never heard me say before, or rarely ever heard me say before. But each week we have our own mini poll of the popularity of our message and our messages, especially when Jeff and Janet hold up the big pride sign, when John holds up his peace pride sign, when we hold up our love your neighbor sign, our affordable housing and justice is justice, don't tolerate hate, be kind and fair to all people. That's a popular message with a lot of people driving by, but it's really, really unpopular with a lot of people driving by too. It probably surprises nobody here that the strength and ferocity of those who oppose these messages isn't just found here in Southbury, but is found around the country. And these statistics are staggering in terms of what we think are messages that everybody should get and everybody should share. So the relevance of elections to a group like Justice Southbury are, number 1, they're an expression of choice. Number 2, the results of the election have real-world governing consequences. And here we need to understand why this choice was expressed, and we need to be vigilant in monitoring and responding to the consequences of this election for our community. So let's acknowledge our wounds, lick our wounds, and get back up and start the hard work that we have ahead of us, not only in 2024, not only in 2028, but from now until then.